we're recording right now. Well, if we are, good. If we're not, fuck. I need to put this in the charge. Come over here. Oops. Probably no one is gonna watch this, but I can't do anything about it. Okay, let's draw, cause I have nothing else to do. I messed up really badly here, so I'm gonna make let me see. This is number one. Yo, that is just wow, impressive. Well, it's much better than we compare, but Japanese think that's actually cool. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just gonna go to the online gallery. Jeez. I can't. Ooh, hello there. What the fuck? No. What? I just saw something else. No, what the fuck? Now, where is it? It was here. What the hell? Never mind. Let's just react, I guess. Come on. Okay. Rabbit boy. Why I got no Wi-Fi? Let me just check. Well, okay, hello there. It's me, this weirdo. And today we are gonna do something. What? Fast and Furious 9. And 2020. So it's gonna be here in 2 years.
No, seriously, what is this place?
Ooh la la.
Yeah, muscle heaven. You want to take one for a test
They
drive?
got Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches. Wait, do they have? Yes! I forgot your name, but I really liked you because I watched Fast and Furious 2, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and yeah, up to 7. Wow. Okay. She probably doesn't know, but why would she watch this? I am not funny, if you didn't know that. This guy is one of my favorite horror
Welcome to Dead Meat, the horror channel where you can get a big serving of your favorite films with a side order of snarky commentary. I'm James A. Janice, and today I'm going to be ranking the 7 Child's Play / Chucky movies from worst to best. Usual caveats apply here. Firstly, these are just my opinions, and it's fine if you have different ones. We don't have to duke it out in the Thunderdome or anything. Secondly, my criteria for judging these movies include how well it's made, like the writing, directing, acting, etc., how much it tries to be something, how much it succeeds in what it's trying to be, how fun or entertaining it is to watch, and of course, those sweet little Chucky kills. And as always, I'll try to say what I like about all the movies, even the ones I rank low. You've heard this all before. Let's get to the rankings.
Let's go.
Number 7. Ranking at the bottom of the Child's Play movies for me is Child's Play 3. By now you should know that I enjoy novelty. I like to see different things, and I'm more willing to forgive a movie's faults if it at least tries to do something new. Child's Play 3 tries nothing new. It takes the same exact format of the first 2 films and puts it in a military school setting, which I find painfully uninteresting. I've seen all these beats before in 1,000 war movies. I don't need to see them again in a Chucky film. Doesn't help when every character there is just a total stereotype, especially douchey drill instructor Shelton. Hell, they even quote the movie his caricature is lifted from.
This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for shooting. And this is for fun.
Yeah, real cool, bro. Sorry, but this 15-year-old looking jackass doesn't exactly convey the same threatening manner as Arlie Ermey. This is also the movie where they really up the number of Chucky one-liners.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
You know what they say. You just can't keep a good guy down.
But I feel like a lot of them are forced and not funny.
Tampering with the mail is a federal offense.
Presto, you're dead.
And while having Chucky accidentally scare someone to death is a funny idea that I thoroughly enjoyed, most of the other kills don't really do anything for me, and definitely don't stand out among the series. The movie's not all bad. The opening scene where Chucky kills the toy company executive after scaring him with a bunch of toys is pretty good. The barber Sergeant Botnick is an insane fucking character, but actor Andrew Robinson, friggin' Larry Cotton from Hellraiser, sells the hell out of the performance. He's having a great time. I like Perry Reeves as Andy's love interest De Silva, and the final act in the Carnival Haunted House ride is somewhat interesting, even though that thing's unreasonably huge for a pop-up carnival. Overall, this movie just doesn't bring anything new to the table, and it feels like it was completely phoned in, which isn't a surprise given that it went from concept to release in less than a year. Don't rush your production, folks. Number 6. At number 6 is Seed of Chucky, which I'm sure most people would put dead last. I don't blame them. After Bride of Chucky turned the series onto a more outwardly comedic path, Seed cut the brake line and floored the friggin' pedal.
I actually like Seed of
debut
Chucky.
of Don Mancini, who wrote every Chucky movie, there's not a single moment that you can take seriously. Like, hey, maybe you can have some real sympathetic moments in Chucky's confused offspring Glenn because, oh, no, wait, he's pissing his pants all over the place and getting yelled at by a little British girl for doing so.
You're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants!
It might be okay if the movie was actually hilarious, but so much of the humor doesn't work. Whether it's injecting
that's
the
messed
frickin'
up,
Britney
bro.
Spears look-alike in the movie and having Chucky kill her off while driving, by the way, like that makes any goddamn sense. Or making Chucky, the killer doll that gave so many people nightmares in the late 80s, jerk off into a plastic cup so his doll wife can use an oozing turkey baster to impregnate Jennifer Tilly with his sperm. Oh, and speaking of his doll wife, she shows her doll tits. What the fuck, man? I don't care what you say, the ending doesn't make sense. If Tiffany successfully transferred her soul to Jennifer Tilly's body before Chucky axed the doll in the head, why does she lie there giving Glenn words of comfort as she dies? Is that Jennifer Tilly saying those things? Is Tiffany in both the dying doll and Tilly's body? There's no satisfying way to explain it, so don't even try. Oh, and also, this movie is UGLY. It don't look like no good guy, it's ugly. Yeah. A lot of shots feature a fake Los Angeles exterior that was added during post-production to shots filmed in Romania, which makes everything look super fake and direct to DVD, which is unfortunate given that this was the last Chucky movie that did get a theatrical release. And it's a shame that the bad parts to this movie are so bad, because there are a decent number of good things to it. I actually do like Glenn, maybe because of Billy Boyd's sweet little innocent voice performance. And I like that this movie explores gender issues. That's a new and interesting thing to see in a horror movie, especially one made 14 years ago. Seeing Jennifer Tilly play a campy version of herself is great, and the scenes and meta jokes about how her voice and Tiffany's sound the same are pretty funny. But that voice!
She sounds just like an angel.
John Waters is fun to have around, and at least the movie goes hardcore with the gore, even if it's debatable whether or not it looks good. Overall, Seed is a movie wherein Don Mancini took a chance, and it didn't pay off. Thankfully, he didn't let it stop him, because the movies he made after this one were a lot better.
That is
Number 5.
weird.
At number 5 is the Chucky film I watched the most as a kid, Bride of Chucky. This was Mancini's reaction to the late 90s meta horror.
I actually watched this
Kicked off by
movie.
Scream.
I had the
Features both
CD,
visual references to other popular horror
and
franchises,
yeah, I had the CD. I would watch it all the time at night.
as well
at
as
12,
self-awareness of its
and once I
own.
went at 3 a.m.,
In fact, if it was a movie,
I
it would
pissed
take 3 or
myself.
4 sequels just to do it justice.
It can be a little much sometimes, but it's a refreshing change of pace after the first 3 films.
Damn, boy, you gotta join it.
toe. And I do think a lot of the humor works.
Rude fucking doll.
It's the first introduction of Jennifer Tilly to the series, playing Chucky's ex-girlfriend Tiffany Valentine, and she is everything the franchise needs. She gets to be a total sex pot and super funny, both things that Jennifer Tilly excels at, even though I would prefer more time with her as a human rather than just voicing the Tiffany doll. You even get a little splash of John Ritter in there, and I will never complain about having John Ritter on my screen. But holy shit, does the storyline featuring teenage lovers on the run, Jesse and Jade, sink this ship like an iceberg. Jesse and Jade are probably the most unlikable characters in the entire franchise, which is really saying something
I'll
when you
admit
think of the
that.
spiteful family lurking around the mansion in Curse. But at least that movie knows we don't like those asshats. In Bride, we're supposed to be rooting for these dumbass teens who are constantly accusing each other of straight up murder,
I think you're fucking crazy.
and yet are still down to make up and get married. These two don't need counseling. They need
Don't need a
restraining
package,
orders.
okay,
The
but
kills
like,
are all pretty
if
solid.
you do it
I
for
don't
so
have any
long,
complaints
it's
there,
not.
really. I could take or
This is
leave
probably
Chucky's
gonna
redesign, which
demand
seems a
that.
bit like it's trying
I
too
don't
hard
know.
to make him scary. And while I can appreciate the fact that this movie took a
please
risk and
don't
had
shut
a dull
her. Oh
sex
my
scene, after
lord.
watching it, I'm not
Never
sure
say,
I really
oh
needed
lord,
that
I
image
never,
seared into my brain
no.
forever. Overall, Bride
This
is an
is
uneven movie. On
inappropriate
the one
for
hand, a
kids,
nice
but
injection
nobody's
of life
watching
into a
this,
series that had
so
grown
I'm gonna
stale,
watch
and on the
it.
other hand, a film featuring kids so stupid it should make anyone pause and rethink having children. Number 4. My number 4 Child's Play is Curse of Chucky, released 9 years after Seed, the biggest gap between any two movies of the series. I guess Mancini had to really air out the franchise after that stinkfest. I really like Curse of Chucky. It's a dark gothic movie with an awesome score that returns the series to what made it good in the first place. A possessed doll sneaking around, killing people, and not revealing himself until a little later, then letting all hell break loose when he does. I'm also 100% okay with Chucky's redesign. I think it's a nice change from his stitched up look. And hey, they even show that he still has those scars underneath some cover-up. This movie is our introduction to Nika Pierce, played by Brad Dourif's daughter, Fiona Dourif, and she's the best addition to the series since Jennifer Tilly, a strong and capable protagonist who is never defined,
What
only
the
informed by the
fuck?
fact that she's in a wheelchair. Sure, the family members around her are despicable people who cheat and spy on one another for financial gain and custody battles, but that makes it all the more satisfying to watch them get killed. And speaking of kills, these are great. Curse is the goriest in the series up to this point, just letting itself get nasty with the blood and dismemberment. And holy crap, did Mancini's direction improve from Seed. Way to better yourself, dude. I also love that while it's a complete tonal shift from Seed to Bride, it still maintains the continuity of the series, acknowledging Charles Lee Ray's initiation incantation, the fact that Tiffany is still out there in Jennifer Tilly's body, and of course, bringing the OG Andy back with Alex Vincent in a post-credits scene that perfectly sets up the next movie.
Play with this.
Andy!
The only thing I really don't like about this movie is that the backstory it tells doesn't jive completely with what we already know. Flashbacks show Charles Lee Ray as a creepy kidnapper instead of just your run-of-the-mill serial killer, and apparently the police were raiding his house when he wound up in the chase scene that kicked off the first movie. That doesn't make sense, because in the original, he had Eddie Caputo waiting with a getaway car, so, like, what was he getting away from? Whatever, everything else works for me, and overall, I think Curse single-handedly saved the franchise and gave me an all-new respect for the artistic growth of Don Mancini. Number 3.
That is creepy.
Coming in at number 3 is last year's Cult of Chucky, and I'm completely willing to admit that its high placement may be at least partially due to recency bias. But I found Cult to be a nice culmination of everything this franchise has been so far. It brought together every character and storyline that the movies have featured. Mine is Glenn, who had the misfortune of being in the one movie it looks like they're trying to forget, and it also perfectly combines the psychological horror of the first movie, since we don't know what the deal is with all the different Chucky dolls, the gore of Curse presented in an even more explicit way, and the humor that's been a growing presence throughout the franchise. Seriously, try telling me the 3 Chuckies aren't hilarious when they're hanging out. I'll call you a goddamn liar.
I never felt so alive! Yeah, well, you've been alive for like 2 minutes.
It's
Okay,
also
that was
aggressively
funny.
confident in the aesthetic it wants to have, with blinding white walls everywhere in the hospital to make the viewer feel as clinically constrained as the characters. While some people said they wanted more Andy Barclay, I was happy that Nika and her captivity took up the lion's share of screen time, with Andy popping up every once in a while to set the stage for the film's finale. It is the finale that leaves a little to be desired, though. I understand wanting to set something up for the next movie, and I'm excited as all hell to see
You know
where
you
this
could
thing
just
goes.
shoot
But
the
it does
door,
feel
right?
like a bit of cheating to have it end with so many cliffhangers and so little resolution. It felt more like the first part to one really banging movie instead of a completed film by itself. Still, between the multiple Chuckies running around, the goriest deaths in the entire series, and to watch Fiona Dourif stretch her acting chops as both Nika and Anika possessed by Charles Lee Ray, I had an absolute blast watching this movie, and I think Don Mancini can call it his strongest directorial work yet. Overall, this was a hell of a good time at the movies, even if it didn't feel completely cooked through in the end. Number 2. In second place is the original Child's Play, and boy was that a hard decision for me to make. I freaking love both the first two films, and which one I prefer bounces back and forth in my mind. But for this list, I'm gonna give the original the silver. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this movie. I really like its
I like the original.
with Chucky not coming out is truly alive to the other characters until halfway through the movie. And sure, only the first kill has even a smidge of ambiguity over whether the perpetrator was Chucky or Andy. But watching Karen and Mike Norris discover the truth for themselves is good stuff, even if we know what's going on the whole time. Mostly because Catherine Hicks and Chris Sarandon are so good. That scene where Karen finds the batteries missing from Chucky's back, so well done. And in the second half of the movie, when the Chuck's out of the bag, we're treated to astounding animatronics.
What do you think?
Watching this, it's still hard to believe how they made that bastard move and talk so realistically, especially back in 1988. That's probably what made this movie so notorious. It didn't cheat the audience by using only super close-up shots and cutting away anytime the doll was supposed to be moving. It showed you a doll moving around like it really was possessed, all without using anything computer-generated. And of course, we have the reigning champion of all professional cute kids that Chucky appears to be dead but then comes back, but each one grows in how unsettling it is, ending with one hell of a creepy image as he's finally put down for good.
I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Overall, the first Child's Play is a perfect execution of an original idea that resonates with multiple generations of moviegoers. It is a classic movie in every sense of the Chucky get down to business right off the bat. There's no waiting for that big reveal. We get to see him up to no good straight from the start. There's more humor than the first movie, but they don't go overboard with it. Chucky's chill-ass deliveries make me laugh way more than the campy stuff that would come later.
How's it hanging, Phil?
Yeah, I like this one.
Chucky.
I also love that this movie explores the foster system and the foster sibling relationship between Andy and Kyle, something I don't think I've seen in any other movie, regardless of the genre. The animatronics for Chucky are even better than in the first movie, and Andy continues to be a reliably resourceful protagonist, even though he's still just a little kid. Dude took a carving knife to the basement in the middle of the night because he wanted to take care of business. The kills in Child's Play 2 come at a steady pace and include such iconic moments in the series as Chucky taking a yardstick, and yes, that's a yardstick, not a ruler, you bunch of blockheads, to the cruel Miss Kettlewell, or Xeroxing Grace the social worker in the middle of her death scene. And it's got my single most favorite kill of the franchise. Look, I love the gore and cursing cult, but I'm not sure any Chucky kill will ever top the factory worker whose eyes get some good guy upgrades. That image will stick with me forever. From the opening credits where we watch Chucky get reconstructed to the Toy Factory final act, the greatest setting for any of these movies to end, Child's Play 2 is a funny, interesting, and perfectly paced movie about everyone's favorite killer doll. That's why it's my #1 movie of the Child's Play / Chucky franchise. And that's my list. Let me know if you agree or disagree or what your rankings are in the comments. And if you missed any of the Chucky...
I know what it's watching this, but I don't give a fuck. Oh, I don't give a damn if you're talking shit, damn. Things are made for servers now. But I don't care. How to get a girlfriend? Okay.